Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, where previously in the Ruby and Sapphire arc, we had Sapphire defeating Roxanne, the first gym leader, and a rock-type one as well, and also opening Roxanne's eyes to things beyond her book learning, gaining one badge and not listening a lick to what Roxanne had to say about entering into the Pokemon League. Sapphire summoned a Wailord of all things that her dad gave her in order to cross the sea. Ruby crossed the sea the hard way, having been washed out in a mudslide and waking up on Mr. Briny, a seaman's boat. Seaman. Ruby and Mr. Briny got to know one another, and Ruby was given information about a special type of Pokemon, a Mellotic, beautiful in appearance, and one that Ruby is dying to have on his team. As Sapphire arrives, she ends up meeting none other than Broly, the gym leader there, who is training his Makuhita in the art of going with the flow, as it were, knowing that she needs to grow stronger. Seeing how serious and capable Broly is, Sapphire enters into the dangers of Granite Cave, where Sapphire trains her Pokemon against the hordes of enemy mobs, as it were, causing all of her Pokemon, well, specifically Torchic and Aron, to evolve into Combuskin and Lyron, respectively. Ruby, who's again just searching for a Milotic there, ends up coming across a horde of Mawile, only just barely being staved by Steven Stone of all people. Feels like Ruby and Sapphire should have switched places. Steven is on the look for rare stones, as that's his hobby and pastime. But in the scuffle with the Mawile, two of Ruby's Pokemon, namely Skitty and Poochyena, evolve into Delcatty. I always want to say Delcatty and Mightyena, and with a little help from Steven, and I mean a lot of help from Steven, they're able to escape from the mob of Mawile. Although before Steven and Ruby part ways, Steven becoming aware of Ruby's capabilities that Ruby tries so desperately to hide, advises Ruby about dark forces that lurk within the Hoenn region, the kind that Sapphire has already encountered. Ruby is none the wiser about what's going on, but he decides that since Steven helped him out so much, he'll at least keep privy to his surroundings. So what'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, chapter 197, Heavy Hitting Hariyama! I do love alliteration. You know, it's kinda cheesy, but I like that they kept this from the Pokemon anime. Speaking of a heavy hitting Hariyama, Hariyama is rushing in on Combuskin's exposed back as it is, well, kind of driven, mainly its claws, into a wall. Sapphire yells out, "Chick, this'll be your last attack." Broly says, "It's pointless. Hariyama has evolved and acquired new powers. Not to mention, your Combuskin's claw is stuck in the wall. It's over." Hariyama moves in. But, Sapphire says, "Hang in there, Chick," as Combuskin just lifts its legs as Broly calls out, "This is ridiculous. It's over." And Hariyama goes for the palm strike. Ooh, simultaneous clash. Combuskin with its talons and Hariyama with its massive palm. I mean, look at those big meaty claws. They're as big as Combuskin's body. What a strike. Neither Pokemon seem to give an inch. As Broly says it's a direct hit from Hariyama's counter, it's over. But without looking at Broly, Sapphire says, "He keeps saying that. And you're right, in a way," as we see Hariyama fall to the ground, and hard. Much to Broly's shock, he goes rushing over to Hariyama and is shocked by what he sees, saying, "What the? Huh? 2 bruises? Why does it have 2 bruises?" As he sees one on the palm and one on Hariyama's face. So Combuskin used its other foot in order to counter Hariyama's hit, right? As Sapphire is trying her best to help Combuskin pull his claw out of the wall, she explains, saying, "Chick's kick and Hariyama's slap. Under normal circumstances, I would have lost. Hariyama would have dodged Chick's kick and added its strength to counter. That's what I figured based on what I've learned about the soft and flexible fighting technique and all. But what if there was one more kick? As she finally manages to pop Combustion's hand out of the wall, Broly says, double kick, a hidden kick that hit before Hariyama's counter, a counterattack of counter. Yep, a technique that you can only pull off in live action or in an anime or manga where the Pokemon aren't confined to turn-based rules. You can still use the attack, but using it in a creative way like that, that's kind of cool. Using the double kick, but the first kick to counter the first hit, and then just go in for the other. That way you wouldn't be taken out by the double strike. That's a wild thinking, I gotta say. Sapphire says overjoyed, saying, I was just waiting for you to use it, right from the start. She smiles at Combustion, saying, that was the only possibility I had of winning. The only thing we practice at the cave. And we see Combustion practicing as Lyran throws a log tied to a vine at Combustion. Broly looks to Hariyama saying, I don't get it. How did you know I was going to evolve my Makuhita during the battle? Sapphire says a little bit mischievously, I could tell you were hiding something from me. You told me if you want to battle me, you'd better drop by tonight. I got the sense you were up to something. You knew I'd come here, so you told me that. The only question was, why did you want me here of all places? Broly says, you got me. I never dreamed you'd catch on. The trainer knows when their Pokemon is about to evolve, and I wanted my Pokemon to evolve during a battle. Which, I mean, face it, that's the coolest time. Honestly, is why I kind of love when it happens in the anime too. Seeing it happen during a battle and stuff like that is always fun. Instead of just after a battle. Broly says, but I never imagined I'd lose that battle. As he grabs something out of his, pants and hands over, what is it called? The knuckle badge? The knuckle badge. And pops it onto Sapphire's bag. Broly says with a smile, there's more to you than meets the eye. Transformers. Sapphire looks at her two badges with a smile, but suddenly her ear twitches as though she's hearing something. She races out saying, that rumble is coming from the cave where I trained. Both Sapphire and Broly exit the gym, looking off to Granite Cave. Sapphire thinks of Ruby, thinking, he's in, and she goes dashing off towards the cave. Broly calls out, wait, and grabs her by the wrist. Sapphire looks back angrily saying, why are you stopping me? Broly tells her, that's no ordinary tremor. Are you seriously thinking about going in there? Sapphire turns back to the cave saying, I know it's dangerous. Broly says, don't be foolish. Look, you have no idea what awaits you in there. That's Granite Cave. Sometimes horde of vicious Pokemon appear out of nowhere. Even the people who live in this area avoid that place. Sapphire says, but he's still in there. Someone I know. We might get buried alive. As we see the mountains start to crumble. Broly questions, who? You mean a friend of yours is in the Granite Cave? Sapphire blushes, saying, friend? And she panics, saying, it's not like that. I don't have feelings for him or nothing. Broly simply says, With a wry smile, he tells her, I understand. In that case, I won't hold you back. It's dangerous, but friendship is important. Aw, man, I love that they've given Broly so much in this. Broly, one of my favorites. It's mostly just because of its design. I keep calling him Broly. I know it's Brawly, but I call him Bro. But even the updated design is kinda cool. Sapphire vehemently says, hey, he ain't my friend. But Broly says, no need to be embarrassed. I have a friend I trust with my life as well. Aw, he's thinking of Bruno. I didn't know Brawly and Bruno studied together. Was that always a thing? Yeah, apparently. Oh man, that's cool. I did not know that. Nice little bit of lore. Maybe that was mentioned, like, with one of the trainers that you go up against as you're making your way to the gym leader. I love that little flavor text you get from everybody that you fight against as you make your way to the gym leader. Little bits of information. Brawly says, we studied together. When we made a good team, our styles complemented each other. You go on. I'm heading off to my training camp. This is goodbye. I wish you good luck on your journey. Sapphire says, okay, thanks a million. And on here I have to note, adult letting small child go into a crumbling cave by herself. Just saying, she's still 10. I know we let a lot of 10-year-olds do a lot of weird and out there things in this world, but it's still cut to Granite Cave where Sapphire's scaling the, well, rubble. She questions, what's happening in here? Is Ruby alright? Just for her to be passing Ruby with all of his evolved Pokemon, well, except for Mudkip. Speaking of which, Bobam Mightyena, one of the few times it's not the rival character who has some of my favorite Pokemon, as Ruby is literally passing by her, making her way into the cave. He questions, oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Just so nonchalantly. He then says with a wry smile, oh, I know. You must be planning to have a breakfast picnic out here. What's on the menu? Wild grass and pebble soup? Just kidding. Don't get so mad. Sapphire's leaping into the air with frustration. She shouts, I heard a rumbling, so I ran over here thinking you might have gotten buried under rocks or something. And now you... Ruby says, I what? I didn't ask for your help, did I? Although I did have a little bit trouble when I got attacked by a pack of wild Pokemon just now. But I met this guy named Steven who teamed up with me and, well, we got through it in one piece. And Ruby says, Sapphire says, what? She grabs him by the collar, shaking him, saying, what did you just say? Who did you just meet? Ruby says, Steven? Sapphire says, you met Steven? Where is he now? Lady, it could be tons of Stevens. I know there aren't a lot in this series, but still. Ruby points to the water saying, gone. He flew off across the sea. Sapphire slumps down in a funk with the letter from Mr. Stone saying, I've been looking for that guy. Why? Why did you have to be the one to find him? Because you didn't stick around in the cave, kid. She grabs Ruby by the collar and goes racing off saying, oh, we might still be able to catch him. Let's go. You're coming with me. I need you to steer me in the right direction. She jumps towards the sea, much to Ruby's bewilderment. But right there in the waters below, Wailord is there to take them off to the ocean. As Sapphire calls out, let's go, Lori. 69 days. Nice. Left until the deadline. Again, it is always a whirlwind when these two are together. But I loved seeing Sapphire's tactics. It's really like watching someone like just with that instinct that you would have had from Blue. A friendlier personality on top of it. It's not like they're flying by the seat of their pants or anything like that. I know Ruby also has a lot of experience under his belt, but the fact that he's not privy to show it off kind of leaves some of his situations feeling a little undercooked, especially since the goal of his adventure is not so much Pokemon battle, and his Pokemon evolve more circumstantially more than anything else. Alright, chapter 198, adding it up with Plusle and Minun, part 1. Man, it's kind of like how the Pichu brothers in the Pokemon movies were big. It's like they decided, okay, how can we have essentially the Pichu brothers, but not the Pichu brothers? Plusle and Minun. You gotta have at least one electric rodent. Narration reach. Hone region. Sea Route 108. A lonely sea route. An old ship abandoned for decades. Rusting, rotting, and forgotten. An ocean graveyard that nobody goes near. Known only as the abandoned ship. Then cut over to Wailord with Sapphire and Ruby aboard. The abandoned ship, is that someplace? Yeah, oh, I remember the abandoned ship. I don't remember much going on it. There were, a bunch of people just hanging out on it for some reason. I thought that was kind of weird. God, I forgot all about that. Wild. Night has passed, and well, I gotta say, Ruby and Sapphire seem to be pretty chill hanging out with each other, at least for now. Ruby is naturally brushing his Delcatty's fur, saying, what sumptuous fur. Just utterly bedazzled by Delcatty's fur. Sapphire dismisses it, saying, makeup and brushing hair. Is that all you do? Your dad's a gym leader. Why don't you practice some moves or something? She tells her Combuskin, come on, let's train, chick. Okay, chick, double kick. And she blocks several of Combuskin's kicks as Ruby tries to get Delcatty out of the way, saying, hey, be careful. Look, I'm aiming to be the champion of all the Pokemon contests. Don't take me for a barbarian like you. Sapphire takes offense to that, saying, what do you mean, barbarian? Ruby tells her, well, you lived in a cave and wore clothes made of leaves. Although on second thought, that might make you prehistoric. Ruby shouts, Sapphire shouts, saying, You got nerve talking to me like that. I was only helping my father out with his field work. And how about a simple thanks for letting you come with me because you had no way to cross the sea on your own? So Ruby gets huffy, saying, "You're the one who dragged me out here in the first place." Sapphire, without missing a beat, picks up Ruby, just Bane style, saying, "Is that a fact? Then why don't you swim the rest of the way?" But before she could toss him over Wailord reacts to something. Sapphire saying, "What's the matter, Lori?" Ruby says maybe Lori would prefer that you not fight on its back. Sapphire says, "Lori's my dad's Pokemon, so what's Lori trying to tell us?" But they can see it through the fog and the mist, making it out in the dead of night, the abandoned ship. Sapphire saying, "There's something in front of us." Ruby shouts, "Yeah, what is that?" Ruby says, "What is that?" Sapphire says, "The abandoned ship. I've heard of it. It's an old passenger ship that got stranded here ages ago. Man, the amount of ships that sink in this world. Ship travel is not the best way to go in the Pokemon world." Sapphire then realizes something, saying, "I know." Ruby questions, "What?" Sapphire says, "Night is falling. It's foggy and visibility is low. So why don't we rest up here for the night? I'm gonna sleep on Lori. And 'cause you're a boy, well, you can sleep over there." Ruby protests, saying, "No way, I'm not gonna sleep in that ghost ship." But Sapphire promptly tosses him towards the ship. And she says, "Quit whining and go." Ruby says, "I can't believe you," as he hits the hull hard, face first, right through it. Sapphire calls over, "You can come back in the morning." A worse person would just leave his ass. As Ruby makes his way through the ship with his Pokemon, he says, "I've lived in cities all my life. When I travel, I stay in hotels. My first camping trip turns out to be inside a ghost ship. So many plants." He comes upon a table, saying, "Well, at least it looks comfortable." He lies down with his Pokemon around him, but then he notices something as he looks up, saying, "Wow, raspberries, bulk berries too. This place even has werepair berries." Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I never understood what most of the berries did. I kind of zoned out when it came to most of that. Could that be what I think it is? Ruby says, "These berries must have been growing here undisturbed for years. The Speleon berries over there are very rare. Go ahead and try some, Moo." Mudkip goes for the berries, but is promptly smacked away by something. Ruby gets off the table, saying, "What was that?" as the other Pokemon are on guard. Ruby looks around, saying, "Is there something there? Was it a wild Pokemon? Are you alright, Moo?" But Mudkip, whoever the confrontational one, is ready to jump back in. Ruby says it's no use trying to run. The fin on Moo's head is like a radar. It can read movements in the air and reveal your location to my other Pokemon. Mudkip converses with Mightyena and Delcat, and they jump in when the Mudkip points the way, only for Plusle and Minun to be knocked out of the tree. Ruby says, "Okay, come out of there. Let me get a good look at you." But he's utterly shocked as he sees how cute they are. Of course, he thinks, "Adorable, they're so cute." Mudkip looks to him like, "Bruh, really?" And with his other Pokemon understanding him way too well, Ruby calls, saying, "Oh, right, I'll forgive you too. It was just a little mischief after all. But if you're a wild Pokemon, what are you doing on this ship?" The Plusle and Minun gesture over to a notebook or a diary of some sort. Ruby says, a diary. It's dated 2 years ago. Maybe it belonged to somebody who came out here. Did you lose your master? Or maybe you were abandoned. I see. You two are lonely, aren't you?" Plusle and Minun go nuzzling up to Ruby and even get in good with Delcat and Mightyena. They even hand over some berries, which all the Pokemon chomp down on. Ruby says, "You want to give us these berries as a token of friendship?" And then Ruby notices that all of his Pokemon are freaking out. Ruby says, "What the?" They're confused. "What kind of berries are these?" As he sees Plusle and Minun high-fiving like a couple of jerks, and they run off as Ruby chases, saying, "Why, you little?" Meanwhile, back on the Wailord, Sapphire says, well, she hears a splash, saying, "Back already? What, you scared? If you apologize, maybe I'll think about forgiving you." But then she hears another splash, something waiting in the water. She listens out and hears someone say, "Can't wait to see this stupid sea dry up." Just the thought tickles me. Oh, that can only be well, a certain kind of group. But Sapphire gets in the battle stance thinking someone's here. And then the routes that they've all taken. And it's so wild that Combuskin is still only level 16, but Lyron is 32 and got beaten the way that it did. Just, you gotta love how in the manga and anime levels mean jack. But Ruby and Sapphire have both ended up at the abandoned ship. Yeah, you gotta have them converge every now and again, or else this mapping is gonna get real crazy real fast. But the funny thing is, too, Sapphire has gained 2 badges, and Ruby has yet to enter any contest. We are this deep in, and Ruby has yet to enter 1 contest. That's actually surreal to me. But then again, don't you not enter into a contest until like way later? I don't even think May had entered into her first contest by this point, even though I think we had come across, because she saw a contest then entered a contest later down the line. So, we'll see. Alright, chapter 199, 1 chapter to 200, adding it up with Plusle and Minun part 2. We have Sapphire leap from the Wailord to the abandoned ship, thinking, I'm sure of it. I heard someone talking. She hears a rustling and motions over to Wailord saying, Hi, Lori. Wailord submerges itself as there's even more of a rustling in the brush, and 2 figures land? Oh, it's the members of Team Magma, namely Courtney and Tabitha. Courtney is someone who I feel with the redesign could still kind of be her previous self, but Tabitha. It's Tabitha. Man, that redesign for Tabitha. And dude, the way Tabitha looks here. Just, look, it's funny too because I have a male friend named Courtney, and he's as jacked as Tabitha is here. It is surreal sometimes. So, a guy with a female name, well, a typically female or feminine name, isn't that out of the ordinary? But, man, when I tell you the redesign for Tabitha takes him so far in the opposite direction. I don't know how you're going to explain that when we get to that point. Because I know both appearances of Tabitha show up, and I'm interested to see how they square that circle. But they both have, and I don't think they had this in the games either. That's, Swellow. I don't know why I couldn't think of it, because Ash had a Swellow too. And I like Swellow. Another Pokemon that gets very close to one of my favorites. I love me a Swellow. You know what? I wasn't going to include it, but yeah, the memories of Swellow is just like, it's overtaken me. I love me a Swellow. I tried to keep my list to a certain amount of Pokemon, but the good memories of Swellow just there. Tabitha says, the abandoned ship. This is where it's kept, right? Sapphire watches behind a tree thinking, who are they? I can't see their faces clearly through all this fog and stuff. Tabitha tells Courtney, come on. Time for treasure hunting, Courtney. But Courtney begins to walk off as Tabitha says, don't you have anything to say? Courtney leans against the railing saying, you search for it, Tabitha. I am staying put. Tabitha grabs her by the shirt, saying, what? Who made you the boss of us? Courtney blows a bubble gum, saying, fine. How about we resolve it this way? We can even toss the coin. Tabitha tosses the coin, calling heads, while Courtney says tails. It lands on tails. As Courtney says, I win. Hurry up. Get over there, you dope. Tabitha growls and walks off, just missing Sapphire hiding behind a tree as he shouts back, you'll be sorry you made me go all by myself. Courtney relaxes and then says, well, come out. I know you're hiding in there. And with a palm strike, she bursts through the tree that Sapphire was behind, narrowly coming inches to her face. Dang. I didn't realize Courtney was so hardcore. I don't think the updated version of Courtney is like that, but maybe she is? Hard to say. Sapphire breaks out from behind the tree, but Courtney manages to grab her by the face with her other hand. Dang. The grip strength on this lady. But Sapphire manages to boot Courtney right in the face, leaping off, releasing her Pokemon, Combuskin and Lyron. But Courtney, not missing a beat, unleashes her Ninetales, who immediately unleashes a fire blast against the two, which I don't know, Combuskin, why are you reacting? You're a fire Pokemon. Sapphire gets ready, saying, come on, let me see your face. But suddenly, she grabs her face, doubles over in pain. Courtney says, your eyes are burning, aren't they? These gloves spurt out spicy juice from a tomato berry. Which, why would you have that? Just instinctively. And Lyran and Combuskin are just grilled. Dang. I guess because Combuskin is such a low level and Lyran is, I'm pretty sure, weak to steel, right? Steel types are weak to fire attacks, right? I shouldn't have to double check this, but yeah. No, damaged normally by fire. Okay. Weak to fighting ground and water. Huh. I always think that steel is weak to fire. Okay, then Lyran, I have to assume that Ninetales is just that powerful. But regardless, Sapphire's Pokemon are cooked, figuratively and literally. As Courtney says, I knew you were hiding there the moment I got here. That idiot Tabitha didn't seem to notice. She blows on her bubblegum, saying, you know, I'm glad I stayed behind. There's going to be trouble if people find out about us. But, okay, I'm trying to figure out what Sapphire did. It's like she slammed into the ground, picking up dust, maybe? Yeah. Courtney is taken a little bit off guard. And then when Courtney looks over to her Ninetales, Sapphire's Pokemon are gone as well. Courtney thinks she's really hidden herself well this time. As Courtney looks around, you see Sapphire up a tree, still blinded. She thinks, I can't believe it. How'd she know I was there from the get-go? I'm a really good hider. And she's strong. Rono and even Chick, fire typer, burned something fierce. My eyes hurt so bad I can't open them. I didn't even get a chance to see what the enemy looks like. And to top it off, him. She thinks of Ruby and thinks of him getting immediately stomped by Tabitha, thinking he's gonna bump into the other one. When that happens, he'll be history. I gotta find him somehow. And she goes sniffing about. Meanwhile, Ruby, he's already having some trouble as Plusle and Minun are just pelting him with berries as they, swing on vines to get away. Ruby calling out, just you wait. And then they trip him with a vine. And then they're behind him laughing. As Ruby recovers from the faceplant, he puts on his glasses, saying, I figured it out. There's a pattern to your movements. Plusle and Minun are taken aback, as Ruby says, I'm right, aren't I? You've been pretending to run randomly all over the place, but you're trying to keep me away from that door. That means there's something special behind it, right? Plusle and Minun get visibly worried, as Ruby says, I'm guessing it's an extremely rare berry. A rare berry that maybe only grows here. Well, whatever it is, let me have it. And before he can get in, Ruby is promptly knocked out, much to the bewilderment of Plusle and Minun, as we see Tabitha behind him with a Torkoal of all things. Oh man, I love me a Torkoal. Not enough to put him on my list, but I do love me a Torkoal. As Tabitha says, thanks for the tip, kid. He tells Plusle and Minun, move aside now. But they both move in, and Tabitha says, I said beat it, as Torkoal just swats them away. Man, I've never seen a menacing Torkoal before. That is called Torkoal, right? Yep, Torkoal. Turtle and charcoal. Tabitha then spots the journal that reads, I don't have much time left. My only concern is the scanner. My Plusle and Minun. Tabitha says, bingo. Tabitha kicks down the door as his Torkoal follows. Meanwhile, with the unconscious Ruby, Sapphire reaches out and grabs him, pulling him into the tree, whispering, hey, pull yourself together. Ruby regains consciousness as Sapphire tells him to shh. Ruby grabs his head going, ow, what? Ah, are you the one who hit me from behind? Sapphire, with her eyes still closed, says, get a grip, look around you. As Ruby catches sight of Tabitha raiding the other side of the door, he questions, who's that? Sapphire says, bandits who came to steal something hidden inside the ship. Another one attacked me too. Meanwhile, Courtney calls out, Tabitha, are you there? Ruby says, that must be her. Meanwhile, Tabitha emerges from the door saying, what's up, Courtney? Finally decided to join the fun? I've already found it, though. The scanner. The scanner. I don't know what that's for. Scanner. Yep, nope. It's not registering what this was. I understand from the wiki, but I don't remember this. I don't remember this thing at all. I don't even think it was in the anime. Courtney blows a bubble saying, did you see a girl around here somewhere? Tabitha says, a girl? I saw a boy, but he's right there. What? He's gone! Sapphire whispers over to Ruby. It's all over for us if they find us. Ruby whispers, what do we do? Sapphire says, fight them, of course, but can't even open my eyes yet. You're gonna have to take the lead. Ruby says, me? And as the two Team Magma members zero in, I gotta say, Magma outfits always look better than Aqua outfits. Like, even in the reboot. Well, actually, no. In the reboot, the admin outfits looked cooler than the grunt outfit when it came to Team Aqua. Whereas the Team Magma outfits, they looked cooler on the grunts than the admins, specifically when it came to everything else, which always bummed me out because I'm just like, no, let the grunts outfits look cool. I wish that the grunt outfits for Team Aqua looked cooler than Team Magma, because in both versions, well, no, the Team Magma outfits in the original looked better than in the reboot, but the team outfits for Team Aqua looked better in the reboot than the original, because they went hard with the pirate outfits. Yeah, Team Magma got a little too nerdcore for me once you hit the reboot. Yeah, that's enough about fashion. Ruby says, but how? All three of my Pokemon are confused. Sapphire says, that ain't good. And both of mine got badly burned. Suddenly, Sapphire hears something, and we see Plusle and Minel scampering away. As she says, are there any other Pokemon around here we could use? Ruby says, yeah, two mischievous little ones. Sapphire says, good. Last them to help us. Ruby says, what? Impossible. Sapphire tells him, maybe so, but we got nothing to lose. And I want to get out of this in one piece. There are two of them and two of us. Let's go. Ready? And she grabs Ruby's arm and they jump down to Plusle and Minun, right behind Tabitha and Courtney. Ruby whispers over to Plusle and Minun saying, listen up. And they both shout, double team. And Plusle and Minun did just that, both using double team, creating a literal army of them all around Courtney and Tabitha and their Pokemon. Tabitha shouts, what the? And then they both use an electric attack to shock the bejesus out of them. Ruby and Sapphire, well, Ruby shouts now as he and Sapphire move to safety, right within where Tabitha was just getting the scanner out of. Sapphire says, perfect. They're wild Pokemon, but they agreed to help us because they don't like those two bandits either. Now let's look up moves they could use on your Pokédex. And Ruby says, I know, already on it. Sapphire then says, at least we know one thing they can do already. Ruby says, their names are Plusle and Minun, and their abilities are plus and minus powers up with plus powers up with minus. Their special attacks get boosted when they're together. Tabitha winces in pain as Courtney powers through it, saying, that's enough playing around, you brats. Ninetales. And Ninetales unleashes flames that, Plusle and Minun ain't looking to get burned, so their double team, hits a pause as they wait for Ruby to tell them what to do. Ruby sees this and thinks, they're waiting for our next order? Those two rascals keep playing pranks on me before. They must really want to stop those bandits from stealing that scanner thingy. I thought there was some kind of rare berry hidden in that room, but they were actually protecting some kind of technology. Sapphire shouts, what are you waiting for? Hurry up! Ruby panics as Torkoal gives Plusle and Minun the business, knocking Minun through the door to Ruby and Sapphire. Tabitha says, looks like it fainted. What a pain in the neck. Sapphire says, they're coming. What are we gonna do? As she holds Minun, Ruby growls as Tabitha tells Torkoal, tells Plusle, I'll crush you good. That'll keep you from running off. As Torkoal goes for the stomp, Ruby shouts, hold it. And Torkoal does just that, catching the attention of Tabitha and Courtney. Ruby holds something over the water through the window as he says, you move an inch and I swear I'll drop this thing into the sea. You've got the scanner, but the password to use it is in here. As we see the diary from the person who was the previous owner of Plusle and Minun and the scanner. Tabitha says, what? You're lying. Ruby goes to drop it, saying, fine, don't believe me. I'll just go ahead and drop this then. Tabitha shouts, and Ruby snatches it out of midair, saying, if you want this diary, then bring that Pokemon over here. Tabitha gets angry and growls as Courtney says, fine, I'll do it. She picks up Plusle and goes in for the exchange. But just as Courtney puts down Plusle, Sapphire shouts to Minun now. Minun grabs Plusle. Plusle immediately wakes up and just shocks the scanner out of Courtney's hands. The scanner goes flying. Ruby manages to catch it, saying, "Ready?" Tabitha shouts, "What?" as Courtney's still grasping her injured hand, and Sapphire goes through the port window, grabbing Ruby, who has grabbed Plusle and Martyn, and she says, "Goodbye, you two," and she leaps out into the water. Tabitha shouting, "Why you?" But all they see is nothing but sea, not noticing that Wailord managed to scoop up Ruby and Sapphire before they hit the water. Tabitha shouts, "They're gone. Where did they go?" As Ruby and Sapphire are just relieved that they managed to get away, more or less. Sapphire says, "That was close. Was that last move Helping Hand?" Ruby says, "Yeah. Those two are exhausted, but Martyn used Helping Hand on Plusle, and they managed to knock the scanner loose." Sapphire gives Plusle Martyn a hug, saying teamwork is important when you're fighting a 2-on-2 battle. Yeah, that was a 2v2 battle, wasn't it? We helped each other out. Those two thieves didn't get along. That's where we had the advantage. Oh, you get along now, really? Oh, is that right? When Ruby doesn't respond, Sapphire questions, "What's wrong?" Ruby says, "We've been had." As he opens up the scanner, he says, "This is only the outer case of the scanner." Ruby shouts, "You're kidding!" Meanwhile, as both Tabitha and Courtney are flying away with their Swallow, which is just kind of funny to see, Courtney says, "Those kids were such a pain. I'm going to make them pay for their insolence. At least we've got the scanner." Tabitha says, "That's good." Courtney folds her arms, saying, "It's not good, you idiot." Tabitha questions, "What?" Courtney asks, "Did you get a clear look at that boy? Because I didn't, and he's a witness." Tabitha thinks they can only make out the faint outline of Ruby, saying, well, I knocked him out from behind, so, no." This is so weird, because I'm used to the Tabitha from the anime, who was the right-hand man of Maxie, but Tabitha here is kind of a dum-dum. Shoot, even in the short that I had saw, was it Pokemon Generations? The Tabitha I saw there, he was also kind of just at the right hand of Maxie. But this Tabitha, man, he bricks. He dumb and bricks. Oh, Courtney, what the heck? Pops off her horn, which reveals a light. Why do you have that there? And she says, "That's what I thought. I'm going to find out who he is, track him down, and get rid of him." What is that? Like a paper with the imprint of their faces on it? Well, we then see Ruby and Sapphire taking off on Wailord, leaving behind Plusle and Martyn, which I'm kind of mad that they're leaving behind Plusle and Martyn. I thought they were going to keep the Pokemon. That's kind of a bummer. Man, why wouldn't you keep them? I at the very least thought Ruby and Sapphire would take one each, and it was only coming together that they'd be powerful. Kind of like bonds of friendship or something like that. Some nonsense like that. That's kind of a bummer. Well, 68 days left until the deadline. Right, here it is, chapter 200. Tripped Up by Torkoal. Alright, as we pick up with Ruby and Sapphire making their way across the sea on Wailord, Ruby says, "So we've made it across Sea Route 109. But Sapphire chimes in saying, "But we haven't caught up to Steven." Ruby questions, "Can I go now? Whenever you're around, I get dragged into some kind of trouble." Dude, you get dragged into trouble whether she's there or not. Let's be real. He leaps off of Wailord saying, "And I haven't been able to participate in any Pokemon contests yet. Just gnarly fights. So, I'll be on my way now." Sapphire yells out, "That's it? At least thank Lori for bringing you here." Ruby says, "Can't say it's been fun." But Sapphire shouts, "And don't you forget our bet." Oh, wait, no, I think it's Ruby who says, "And don't you forget our bet." Sapphire says, "No." Ruby says, "I won't. You neither. You'll be amazed when you hear how my gorgeous Pokemon have swept past the competition in all the Pokemon contests." I wasn't expecting this. We pick up in the Team Magma hideout, which is just like a cave with fire all around it. And they live like peasants. And the Omega Rupee and Alpha Sapphire versions of Maxia got a little bit more class. Tabitha and Courtney are squatting in front of him. Tabitha saying, "Hey boss, what next? We've gotten a hold of the scanner. I can't wait to tear things up." While Courtney smiles, saying, "Yeah, why don't we drop by Slateport City and burn it to the ground?" Already trying to one-up what Team Rocket did in the last story arc, huh? Maxie, who's knocking back some sake, says, Now, Don't get over enthusiastic, you two. Blaze should be back any minute now. And Blaze reports back. So we got trios in each one. They do love their trios. Blaze enters, taking off his hood, saying, "Back, boss." Maxie says, "Told you. How'd it go?" Blaze says, "Things are in good shape. I checked out the scrapyard at Slateport City, and Submarine Explorer 1 is 95% complete." Maxie shatters the bottle on the back wall, saying, "Great, you three head over there. Show the ignorant citizens that Team Magma has the power to dry up their entire sea with our fiery lava." Blaze says, "Oh yeah." Tabitha stretches while Courtney says, "Let's go." And they all head out on their Pokemon. Blaze on Swallow, Courtney on Ninetales, and I love the way Tabitha's making his way out on Torkoal. He's just spinning as he heads down on it. And Maxie says, "Burn everything to the ground," as he unleashes his Camerump, which... Wait, is it Camerump? Camerump, yeah. It just starts unleashing a torrent of fire. Oh, wait, it's happening like this? That's kinda lame. We pick up at the edge of Slateport City, where we have Ruby filming Mudkip just evolving into Marshtomp. Just like that. Ruby says, "Great, I've recorded another Pokemon evolving. Seems like you gain a lot of experience very quickly. No wonder Professor Birch was doing research on you. You're not all that aesthetically pleasing yet, but I'll take a few shots of you anyway." And Marshtomp's blushing. It's weird that he's evolving now. He then recalls Marshtomp and shows him off to the others, saying, "You've gotten pretty tough looking, Moo Moo. You've caught up with Nana and Kiki." Oh my god, he's back and he's here. As Ruby's putting his Pokemon and camera away, he says, "Nah, I just need to organize the pictures I took today," and suddenly he's approached by the Pokemon Fan Club chairman. He says, "Young man." Ruby turns, going, "Yes." The chairman asks, "Is that a Pokeball you're holding in your hands?" Ruby says, "Huh? Yes, it is." The chairman says, "Wonderful. A Pokemon trainer at your age? That's magnificent." Ruby says happily, "Oh, thank you very much." The chairman says, "So self-assured as well. I can tell that you, sir, are no ordinary boy. Here, let me take a look." Ruby says, "Hey, wait." And the chairman starts bringing out his Pokemon, saying, "This one, and this one, and this one." And as all three Pokemon are brought out, the chairman says, "Ooh, delightful. Also, Marshtomp, blow your nose." The chairman says, "I've made up my mind. I hereby make you an honorary member of the Pokemon Fan Club." Ruby questions, "The Pokemon Fan Club?" The chairman says, "Over there," as he brings him to the Hoenn branch of the Pokemon Fan Club. And as they enter the door and greet the, secretary. Oh, the chairman says, "Oh, excuse me, would you send this to my little brother in pacified log town for me?" Wait, is this the same chairman or is it a different one? Oh, I didn't even realize there's a chairman in every version of the game. Is it the same chairman or is it a different chairman? I'm really not sure. But Ruby sees the letter and says, "Cool, a Pokemon stamp." And then questions, "Who are you?" The chairman says, "I am the chairman. The big cheese, as it were, of the Pokemon Fan Club." He hugs all of Ruby's Pokemon, saying, "Our club focuses on the care and love of Pokemon. After all, Pokemon are cute creatures. Your Pokemon are very cute. It's an outrage that people pit such adorable creatures against each other in battle." Ruby grabs the chairman's hand, saying, "I agree with you totally. This is the first time I've met anyone who understands how I feel since I moved to this region, at least." He thinks of his dad and May, saying everyone around here is battle crazy. See, this is what's fun about it. Before the chairman would be seen as a weirdo, but because of Pokemon contests, the idea of cute, adorable Pokemon put on display, like, dogs at an event, is a lot more common. The chairman says, "Is that so? You must have been through a lot already for someone your age. But you needn't worry about any of that in this town." He then runs with Ruby out the door into the town, saying, "Lakeport City is a place for people like you, people like us. In the center of the city, you'll find a thriving marketplace." Ruby goes, "Wow!" Coming upon the Slateport Market. Slateport Market. Oh, I barely remember that. Yeah, you could buy a whole bunch of stuff. Right. I didn't think too much of it in the original, but it looks done up a lot better in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Probably would have remembered it a bit better there, because it just looks like a few stalls in the original games, where the chairman shows Ruby around saying, "The shops at the market sell all manner of cute Pokemon goods. Look, Meryl, Azurill, and Skitty dolls. Exquisite. I'd love to decorate my room with them." I did decorate my room with a lot of dolls. I do remember doing that. And best of all, we have a Pokemon contest hall where we conduct our Pokemon contests naturally. Ruby starts to well up with tears and cries, grabbing the chairman's hand, saying, "Mr. Chairman." Chairman says, "Young man." They rush in as Ruby says, "Let's go. It's finally time for my team to show off their cuteness, coolness, and toughness in the Hoenn region." As the contest is underway, we have the announcer saying, "In the first portion of the Pokemon contest, the cute component showcases the look of the Pokemon. And now let's move to the appeal time. The secondary judges are judging where Pokemon show off their moves. Chances Ricklek using Facade as Ricklek just runs around the place. Or Alex Strike. Yeah, there we go. I'm like, Ricklek? Oh, you just put, yeah, very creative name, Chance. Alicia's Slackoff using Amnesia. Yeah, he's just looking confused. Russell's Lolota using Growl. And we have Trailo just singing. And Sydney's Wuris using a track. And Whismer is being all cutesy. The chairman is examining and says, "So you're saying this young boy Ruby may not participate in the contest?" The secretary at the front desk says, "Yes, we're very sorry. He doesn't have a contest pass. And even if he did, this contest is a hyper rank contest, so he couldn't start here anyway." The chairman says, "But outside the Hoenn region, Ruby has participated and triumphed in a number of competitions. Doesn't his previous contest pass fulfill the entrance requirements?" The receptionist says, "No, we're sorry. We only accept passes issued in Hoenn." And why is it so hard to get a pass? And you can only get those passes in Vandertuft Town. So only in Vandertuft Town. Did we past Vandertuft Town? Oh no, we're nowhere near Vandertuft Town. I remember that place. I barely registered it because it was right outside the cave. Yeah, they went in the complete opposite direction of it. Okay. Because they would have had to gone from Rustboro. So Ruby went in the exact opposite direction of where he was trying to go. Dang. Okay, yeah, he's 2 towns over. Okay, that's what it is. Thank you, Pokemon Wiki. That's a bummer. Man, when are you finally going to enter a competition, man? The chairman gets angry, but Ruby grabs his shoulder saying, "It's okay, Mr. Chairman." Chairman says, "But," and he continues to argue as Ruby thinks, "I want to enter the contest, but I don't want to cause a fuss. The more commotion I cause, the more likely my father is to find me." He pulls away the chairman saying, "I know, let's make some Pokeblocks together. That'll take our minds off things." Yeah, the Pokeblock making, I remember that. I don't remember being good at it, though. Chairman says, "Pokeblocks?" Ruby says, "That's right. Treats made by blending berries that we can give our Pokemon to increase their condition. I'm pretty good Pokeblock chef, you know. And I've gathered all kinds of berries around here. Cherry, Chethro, Pecha, Oris, Aspire, Lepa, Oran. I remember orange berries. Persim, citrus." Chairman goes, "Ooh, he used this berry blender to blend these berries. Hey, let's get 2 more people. The more the merrier, and the higher the quality of Pokeblock." The chairman looks around going, everybody's going to watch the secondary judging. Then spots a scientist and a maintenance man. I have no idea who this people are. Oh, apparently they're important. Let me see. Doc and Captain Stern. Doc, minor role, works in Stern's shipyard. Oh, I kind of remember this guy. There was some discussion with him that was important, right? And Captain Stern. Okay, he was in the anime too. Oceanographer. Okay, something to do with Devon. I won't go any further than that. So, important dudes. Doc and Captain Stern are brought in by the chairman. Doc saying, "What the?" As the chairman says, "Come blend berries with us." And they all sit down. Doc and Captain Stern just roll with it. As we see Courtney still chewing on bubble gum, looking at Doc and Captain Stern through the binoculars, saying, "There they are. Told you we'd find them." As Blast, Court, and Tabitha are around her on their Pokemon, Courtney asks, "What do we do, Blythe? It won't be easy to lure those others away from them." Blythe says, "Yeah, so let's just get all of them," he says into his Pokegear. "Do it, Tabitha." Tabitha says, "Roger." And as they're mixing berries, the chairman says, "It's spinning, it's spinning." And then suddenly Torkoal is spinning into the it's spinning into where they're at. As the chairman says, "Ooh, that thing is spinning too." Ruby shouts, "What is it?" As Torkoal pops out, Ruby shouts, "A Pokemon?" Torkoal gives a mischievous grin and unleashes a cloud of fog or haze or smoke as everyone coughs and is slowly knocked out by all of the smoke inhalation. Enter Blast, Tabitha, and Courtney. They say, "Okay," and then load all four of them up on Torkoal. Tabitha says, "Let's take them," and they make their way. That's just wild that Ruby got caught in this again by happenstance. Man, Team Magma has made more appearances than Team Aqua at this point. So while Ruby has made his way to Slateport City, we have no idea where Sapphire ended up. And so we're on the last chapter of this volume, chapter 201. Slugging it out with Slugma. And as Ruby and the tied up chairman are thrown into, a storehouse, one of Ruby's Pokeballs goes flying, and out of it pops Marshtomp. Ruby awakens to this and looks around saying, "Moo, where are we?" "Oh, the chairman, Mr. Chairman." And Marshtomp just blasts the chairman in the face with the water. The chairman wakes up going, "Ooh, how did I get all tied up?" "Last I remember, we were blending Pokeblocks at the contest hall, and come to think of it, we're the only two people here now. Where are the other two?" Ruby and the chairman look through the viewport in the storehouse to see Captain Stern. Yep, Captain Stern being held up by his neck by Blast, while Swellow. I said I like the Pokemon and I can't remember the name. Swellow is perched on the head of Doc. Ruby thinks those red capes and that symbol on their chest. Where have I seen that before? Oh, that's right. They were wearing the same uniforms as those two bandits on the abandoned ship. Wait a minute. Before I passed out, I remember. And he remembers the figure of the other two, making them out clearly now. He thinks two of them were the same ones who attacked me and Sapphire before. How come they didn't recognize me? I know. I was covered in berry juice and wearing glasses, and my face must have been hidden by the darkness and fog. Phew. I'd be in a lot more trouble if they knew what I looked like. I don't know why I've been kidnapped, but I got to avoid getting involved with these thugs. Luckily, the two from the ship don't seem to be here. What are they up to anyway? The chairman says, "Oh, I remember. That's Captain Stern. He manages the renowned Oceanic Museum of Slateport City. And that must mean, I knew it, we're at the shipyard on the outskirts of the city." Ruby shouts, "Shipyard?" The chairman goes over to the nearby window, and I'm not sure what he does, but did he just pull out like a news pamphlet? Saying, "Look at this, Ruby." Brings out a report about Doc and Captain Slate, upcoming fourth exploration of Hoenn seafloor. "All right, with the dive ability." The chairman says he's the head of the Oceanic Museum, the leader of the Hoenn seafloor exploration team, and the designer of the new deep-sea exploration submarine. Captain Stern is an important man, and the fellow who was with them is Mr. Doc, the supervisor of the shipyard. Ruby whispers, "I see. Those thugs were after those two. We were just in the way. You recognized them when we were making the Pokeblocks?" The chairman says, my head was full of Pokeblocks. There wasn't any room for anything else." Typical chairman. Meanwhile, Blast is still holding Captain Stern by the neck, saying, "Come on, talk." I mean, he can't talk. You're choking him. The chairman says, "Oh no, Ruby, you're a Pokemon trainer. Beat up those bad guys. Do your thing." What a 180 from his usual mindset. Ruby says, "No thanks. Why don't you do it?" The chairman says, "I don't want to. I'm frightened." Ruby says, "You don't want to, so you want me to?" I love Marshtomp's dismissive face. Suddenly something is slammed against the door as we see that it was Captain Stern. Blast says, "You're awfully stubborn. All I'm asking for you to tell me what's missing. We need another component to complete this, don't we?" He pulls a lever, and out of the water next to them is the submarine. Much to the shock of Ruby and the chairman, Blast says, "Mr. Stern, I don't have a lot of time, you know." I heard that your Submarine Explorer 1 was complete. We came to steal it while you were away, but for some reason, it isn't fully operational. We had no choice but to seek you out and bring you here. Do you have any idea what a waste of time that was? Come on, tell me. Is it fuel? Or is there a part missing? What do we need? But Stern doesn't say anything. Mr. Doc yells, "You mustn't tell him, Captain Stern!" But Blast sends out something saying, "Will you shut up?" As Slugma approaches Mr. Doc. Ooh, it sends out hot, steamy air towards him. Oh no, it burns his leg. Jeez. As Mr. Doc cries out, Captain Stern calls out for Doc, and Ruby, he gets pissed. As Slugma backs off, Blast says, "Okay, Mr. Stern, if you don't hurry up and tell me, your friend's going to be in all kinds of trouble." Captain Stern says, okay, I'll tell you. While Mr. Doc calls out to Captain Stern, Captain Stern says Submarine Explorer 1 won't reach its full functionality without a special core part. For now, you can use it as an ordinary submarine, but in order to reach the seafloor cavern on the bottom of the Hoenn Sea, that part is essential to control the vessel. Blast says, "I knew it. But where is this special part? You make one already?" Captain Stern says, "No, I don't know how. Ask the Devon Corporation to make it for us." Blast says, "That's easy then. Have them send it here pronto." He then gets on his poke gear saying, "Tabitha, Courtney, you don't have to search the museum in harbor anymore. The missing part is being made by the Devon Corporation. Excellent. You two can go back. I'll take care of the rest myself." Captain Stern says, "I've told you what you wanted to know. Could you at least free Doc now?" Blast grows angry, saying, "You don't seem to understand your position. I make the decisions here. Come with me." He grabs Captain Stern by his coat collar, and while Stern grabs onto the door to the storage room, he pulls on it by accident, which causes Ruby, the chairman, and Martyn to come tumbling out. Blast says, You were eavesdropping all this time, weren't you?" Ruby goes, "Uh-oh," and he sends out a Slugma saying, "I was going to take my time getting rid of you once I got the information out of Stern, but there's no time like the present." Ruby runs from Slugma saying, "Hey, submarine parts, whatever. I don't have anything to do with this." Several Pokeberries fall out of his pockets as he says, "I never meant to get involved. You guys figured this out between yourselves." As Ruby makes his way to the submarine hatch, the chairman says, "I don't know what to make of this. Is he dropping the Pokeblocks intentionally?" Ruby says, "At least I'll be safe inside here." And Martyn follows. Blast calls out, "Hey," as he thinks, "Odd, my Slugma is acting without my orders." Yeah, he's dropping Pokeblocks intentionally. As Slugma follows Ruby into the sub, Blast follows saying, "Slugma, don't follow him." And he goes into the sub too. As suddenly, the sub is dislodged. Captain Stern says the safety lock's been disengaged. Submarine Explorer 1. Blast then notices the submarine is moving. He then spots Ruby and says, "You say you have no intention of fighting. You lured my Slugma over here to separate me from the others, didn't you? You were dropping these while pretending to run away." He picks up a Pokeblock, says to top it off, "They're blue Pokeblocks. Dry Pokeblocks that my quiet-natured Slugma likes to eat. You lured my Slugma over to you with these, didn't you?" Ruby turns to Martyn saying, "Those are the Pokeblocks we blended at the contest hall just now. They must have fallen out of my pocket. I had no idea." Blast says, "Don't lie to me. How did you know my Slugma has a quiet nature? Answer me." Ruby sighs and his Martyn nods as Ruby suddenly gets into a battle stance, glaring at Blast. Blast questions, "Who are you? 60 days left until the deadline. To be continued." Alright, and finally we've gotten Team Magma, which is nice to see. In regard to who seems to have the more interesting plot, it's Team Magma for me currently. Team Aqua felt a little too low-key a little bit, but Team Magma feels a little bit more intense. Which again sucks because I always bet on blue. Maybe that's why I always lose. But the encounter with Tabitha and Courtney was a lot more fun. Maybe it's because we had both Ruby and Sapphire instead of just Sapphire. But here we have Ruby encountering Team Magma on his own, and that's pretty intense too. Ruby definitely has a plan, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But there's a lot of menace to Team Magma. I will say though, the way that Magma and Aqua are set up in terms of this, it feels like it should be the inverse. You're encountering Team Magma and, Maxie's just drinking, and that feels like something I'd see Archie doing. Whereas it was weird seeing Archie in an office, and maybe that's a little bit biased. I don't quite remember how you first encounter Maxie and Archie in the games either. I guess a lot of my bias is based on their, reboot looks. Because Maxie goes hard into the business apparel kind of situation while Archie feels like an out-and-out pirate. But we'll see. I'm interested to see more of these bosses and their admins in action, because the anime only did so much with them. And again, I barely remember too much of them from the games. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and hope to see you later. So then, take care. Bye-bye.